Welcome to Letters to Breck. This will be the last blog before I head to Hilton Head. Be jealous. Be very jealous. So, this is a Surviving the Brat Race Letters to Breck edition. So prepare yourself because there's only one letter. However, it's interesting. It's from a fellow who calls himself Lost in Honkers, and it'll become obvious as we go on. I've read the letter like 20 times now, so I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to try to paraphrase in first person. And hello. Ticker tape coming in. Do you hear it? That's annoying me. Just a second. Alright. We're done with that. So Lost in Honkers. I'm going to title this Why Nice People Gladly Drive to Their Deaths. I think this is and actually typed this all out once. So alright, here we go. So dear Breck, here's what happened to me. I'm a really nice guy. I went out with some friends to a club one night of exotic dancers, be a strip club, and I met this girl, a dancer. Her name was Kendra, I think, or it doesn't matter what her name was. Tiffany. And I had some alcohol, and I gave her my phone number. Well, I went back a couple more times and talked to her. Of course, she never called, you know. Okay, I get that. I understand it as well, honkers. So, here's where it gets really interesting. He said the other night that he's laying in bed. It's like 4 in the morning, and he hears his phone ringing. Except his ringer's not on. He says the buzzer, and so he just laid there for a while, and finally he realized that was his phone. So he jumps up, and he picks it up, and it's a local number. And like anybody that gets a phone call early in the morning, I mean, it's rarely good news. And so he answered it. And it was Kendra. Imagine his excitement at 4 in the morning. Drunk stripper calling him. Oh, life is good, Lost in Honkers. Life is good. So, well, Kendra's having a spiff with her boyfriend, and he's throwing her out, and she wants to know if Lost in Honkers can come get her, and if she could stay with him. Whoa! Wow! Lottery. So he sits there and thinks about it for a second, and he's like, okay, where you at? So she says she's like 20 miles away, and she tells him where she's at. She was, oh babe, thank you, and Lost in Honkers is like, okay, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. Okay, but being an idiot, he got dressed and he jumped in the car and he started driving, and while he's driving, he's thinking, how am I going to explain this? Who is this very young woman in my house? So he's driving, and the phone rings again, and it's Kendra again, and she says, babe, 2 or 3 more times. And she said, well, how far away are you? And he goes, well, I'm like 15 miles away. And he can hear the boyfriend in the background going, let me talk to him, let me talk to him. And he's like, oh, crap. So he goes, hey, you need to come another 5 miles up the road, because that's where I'm going to dump her off. Exit 144. And Lost in Honkers is like, okay, I mean, what is he going to say? Is he going to argue with the guy? So, and he said, so when you get off at exit 144, turn left and drive 3/4 of a mile, and you'll find her on the side of the road. And he hung up. So, Lost in Honkers is like, okay. So he starts driving a little farther, and more things start going through his head. So is he going to take this exotic dancer to his house, leave her there, and then go to work for the day, not knowing her at all? And then he got to thinking, he says, well, yeah, he's going to do that because he's a nice guy. And, you know, when he gets home, he's probably going to be robbed. There'll be nothing left in the house but carpet. And he got to thinking about it. He goes, well, okay. Well, if Lost in Honkers gets robbed, well, he deserves it because he's a dumbass. And this is going through his head. Okay, if I get robbed, so be it. If I have to sit and watch a wall for the next 2 years because he's a moron, then so be it. So he was okay with that. So he continues to drive along, and he gets about 5 miles away, and then he starts thinking, well, why am I driving 3/4 of a mile down a road that I don't know? And then it starts going through his head, possibly I'm going to turn off at exit 144 and take a left, drive 3/4 of a mile, get shot, have my body thrown into a ditch, and that'll be the end of it. And he says it's going through his head, and he's like, she's hot. Okay, I'm alright with that, he says. You know, he says, so he gladly drives to what could be his death. I mean, like, okay, alright, this is happening. So Lost in Honkers gets to exit 144, and he said he turned left, and he drove the 3/4 of a mile. Nothing. He drove a mile farther, went the other direction, and nothing. And he did it twice, turned around and started driving home. Did call the number that she had called from, and no answer. So obviously the fight was over. So Lost in Honkers gets home, gets dressed, goes to work, and he's sitting around at work, and his mind's still kind of racing over the whole morning, and he says he was kind of kicking himself for being a moron, and then he started thinking, what if boyfriend killed her, and she's in a ditch somewhere? And the last person that she talked to on the phone was Lost in Honkers. Now, if you went to Lost in Honkers' neighborhood and interviewed him, they would say that he left in a hurry at 4 in the morning, came back at 5:30, went inside the house and looked like he showered, and then left again very quickly. So now Lost in Honkers is sitting at work all day, waiting for the police to come arrest him for murder, because he has to be a prime suspect, right? So we don't have an end to the story for Lost in Honkers. He doesn't know whether she's okay. And he says he's not going to check. That maybe he's learned his lesson. I don't know. But Lost in Honkers, you're a dumbass. Okay? I don't want to sugarcoat it. Dumb ass. This has been Letters to Breck. Peace